Whoa, hello there. That's a cool double click thing. What's that called? The finger guns.
Oh yeah.
Um, we're gonna do our first episode of Shitty Life Advice. This is called How to or fucking How to Podcast. God damn
That could be
it.
an episode one day.
How to Apocalypse. There you go. That was supposed to be all fucking dramatic and stuff, and I kind of jacked it out. But How to Apocalypse. So, we're not experts. We're not dumb though. We feel like we have a little bit of say so in some matters. So we did a little bit of due diligence. We did a little bit of research. We talk beforehand, kind of touch base on this. So we're kind of approaching this in a little bit more of a professional manner. Oh, also while I'm saying that, we're gonna drink beer and smoke blunts too. So
Flight deck brewing, baby. That's the one that's here, right?
yeah, they're right in Brunswick.
Yeah.
Breaking the sound barrier, mango pink guava, and then we got a blunt of whatever the fuck's in that blunt. So how to? Oh, that's actually really delicious. Tastes like fermented juice.
That's really good.
So, how to apocalypse? The world ends. Let's talk about a scenario where the world ends. Let's say the world ends tomorrow.
Well, when you think of the word apocalypse, what's the first scenario that comes to your mind?
Society collapsing. Like society collapsing in the fashion of government no longer rules. People don't drive on the fucking side of the road that they want to, that you're supposed to.
No more banks, no more fucking
Right. No more banks, no more
infrastructure. It's
gas,
free
and
for all.
just like it's society collapse. And there's a lot of things that could happen for society to collapse, like just like the few scenarios we went over, like the power grid going down, fucking running water no longer being available, gas running out,
Yeah. There's so many.
a bunch of things like a nuclear attack, a meteor hitting fucking New York and just kind of fucking things up.
As a whole, I think we're very fragile people. Like
We like comparative to like the rest of the animals in the world. Like let's look
Yeah.
at like alligators, bro. Alligators have like armor and shit.
they're basically dinosaurs. Like
They are
they've
dinosaurs.
survived
Yeah, they are
the whole
dinosaurs.
time.
They eat rotting meat. That's why they survived for so long. Like we're fucking. I bumped my big toe on on the edge of the table, and I'm done for the day. Like we're flesh.
No shit.
We're just flesh. We're fleshy meat blobs.
I broke my foot and I was out. I was out of commission for like a full year.
Right.
I didn't-
Like there's just nothing you could
Yeah.
do about it. Like if you break your foot as a fucking gazelle,
You're gonna walk the other three good ones.
or you die really quickly.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
don't live
Yeah.
long. That's just the way life works. But yeah, like if society were to end tomorrow, a simple scenario like we went over, just something happening, whether it's a cyber attack or running out of gas or whatever, something happening, and we're in a apocalyptic style world where you're just faced with survival. What are the essentials of that new lifestyle to you? Like, okay, the essentials of today's lifestyle is pay your bills,
Yep.
graduate from school. Well, sorry,
I'm
wrong.
be talking to you right now.
Pay your bills, go to school somewhat, be educated. Like education is a luxury.
I think these are guidelines you're saying to fit into like the normal society. Type
Yeah,
of
just
thing,
like today's society.
Yeah.
Now if today's society goes away, no one gives a fuck about long division. If I'm worrying about my next meal, I'm not worrying about long division. I'm not having any critical thoughts about like
Absolutely.
the existential existence of my soul. No, I'm trying to kill trying to kill whatever I can to fucking eat.
I'm fucking hungry and thirsty.
Right.
and
Yo, hangry, like being hangry, that's a real thing. Like
Oh,
now
yeah.
imagine like a almost constant state of that. That's basically what it would be, like the comfortability of running out of things. So, what are the essentials? What
I
do
mean,
you
your basic three, right? Food, water, shelter. That's
Food-
what you've always been
Yeah,
taught to
food.
survive.
Right. Food, water, shelter, like I don't know. As far as food, stores would run out almost within like a few days.
Wouldn't
Like
take long.
like there wouldn't be really like in The Walking Dead where you can go scavenge things. I don't believe that's going to be a real scenario. Not past a year. Maybe a year you'll be lucky in small
depending
place,
on where you
but even
live.
still, like that's
No, there's way too many people and not enough shit.
right. So, you know, how are you going to eat? What do you do? What do you do to eat? Like we have run. There's no more cans of beans. There's no more fucking like loaves of bread and like there's just I guess loaves of bread is not a shelf stable thing, but there's no more like packets of Kool-Aid and stuff. There's no more like pre-processed food. Like it's just what are you doing to eat?
So basically, you're saying I gotta go find something to eat that's not.
Do you have enough knowledge right now to hunt, hunt, and to be forage enough to not die?
I have enough knowledge to hunt, but not to forage. I bet.
What could you hunt? What would you hunt?
A deer. I've killed a deer before.
You don't have a gun anymore.
I don't have a gun anymore.
Well, like bullets are also a luxury. Like, what if we run out of bullets? Do you know how to make bullets?
No.
That would be a good thing to learn. Learning how to make bullets.
Really cool. I know there actually is a way you can like recycle ammunition somehow. I don't know how to do it, so I'd be fucked. But
instead of a gun, what about a crossbow?
Yeah, a bow and arrow. Swords.
Do you know how to use a bow? Have you ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no experience, but I feel like that's something I could like.
Actually.
I feel like that's something you could probably pick up and learn fairly quickly, especially in a do or die type of situation.
I mean, you know how to throw a stick, make a spear.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's what we started off with. They were spearing fucking like woolly mammoths and shit.
That would be so crazy.
Okay, so but like hunting a deer, bro, you hunt a deer and like you get a deer, that's like 200, 300 pounds of meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
We don't have refrigerators no more. What do we do?
Yeah.
Even if we have refrigerators, like it's still like you gotta have a whole ass chest freezer for something like that. So like preserving it, you could preserve it by you could smoke it.
Yep.
That's cool. I don't like that's just like hitting it with low temp heat over a long period of time. You can do that over a camp.
What's the process of making jerky? How do you do that? Do you know?
Smoking it
Smoking
basically,
it?
yeah. It's just like low heat over a long period of time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
That's what makes jerky shelf stable. Is like the process that it's been fucking dried and cured like that.
Oh yeah.
Or salt. Like if you had salt, salt is like that's why salt was like a really valued good back in the day. It's a preservative. Not only it's not just to meant taste good. It's like it's an actual preservative. You would coat your fucking your game, your killed meat.
Really? So you would just like rub the salt on the meat and
Essentially, yeah. It makes it at least fucking last through the winter. It probably doesn't taste great. That's where like prosciutto and shit comes from. It's just it's salted meat that's been like that's the preservative. It doesn't need any extra chemicals or anything to it.
Cool.
But like salt, that would also be a luxury. Like you can't just go shake a salt tree.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
to make salt, you have to literally go into the ocean and scoop out salt water and dehydrate the water. That's not an easy and fast process, and like
No.
especially if we live in middle America.
Yeah, right. Where the fuck are you gonna find salt water?
Right.
I mean, you might get lucky and dig far enough to find it, but
I guess you would have to. That's also another luxury.
Yeah,
You would need like bulldozers and shit to dig deep enough. So all right, so like you would be hunting, kill yourself a deer, realize you kill yourself a deer, and you can only eat for like a day or two off of it, and then it starts to mold and get nasty. And you're like, fuck, like I just wasted all that time. I wasted a lot of energy. I gotta conserve my energy. Now I gotta like look at like smaller game. Birds, squirrels, rabbits,
things that are aplenty. You know what I mean?
What do you think a squirrel tastes like?
Probably not good. It's probably really fucking gamey and strange.
Birds probably taste disgusting, like crows and seagulls. They're fucking trash birds. They probably eat nothing but like.
But I think it tastes better than a fucking squirrel, dude.
I mean, squirrel would probably taste. In my opinion, I'd choose a squirrel over the seagull. Squirrels eat like nuts and seeds and stuff. Seagulls eat like. Literal trash. And I saw a seagull eat my baby's diaper the other day. I threw it out in the fucking trash and it swooped in. I was like, what the fuck, that is disgusting.
Gross. Yeah, alright, maybe you're right. I was just thinking like chickens and birds, maybe they taste more like chicken meat, but
I guess that's fair. I mean, chicken meat only tastes good because of the fucking shit we feed it, like raw
that's true,
chickens. That's just like Do chickens even roam?
Wild chickens?
Yeah, are there?
Think so.
I don't. Are there wild chickens? Like there's wild pig.
There must be like I think prairie chickens are like a form of chicken that's wild, but I could be talking out my ass. I might be wrong.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't like. Could chickens survive on their own? Basically, I don't. I
Probably
don't.
not
I don't.
very
I don't know if they could.
No.
It's like that's like asking if there's wild chihuahuas.
Yeah.
There's wolves, which is a version, but it's not the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you like? Do you even know how to clean those animals? I have no knowledge how to clean those animals.
No, not properly. I could probably make my way through skinning it, but I don't think I could like clean it. And
Even
properly...
still skinning it, I don't really know. Like, I guess I could probably figure it out. A lot of small animals would die in this process, but I don't know if I could like. That's knowledge that you would have to have going into it. It's not like just common knowledge. You know what I mean? It's not just human existence knowledge. I could pick berries and eat. I'd be a hell of a forager.
That's where I would like to have you as a friend, because I would probably eat something that would kill me within a week.
Yeah.
You know? I fucking know how to identify shit.
Like so, like, the world's ended. You can only eat, and you can only like eat what you kill. You got birds. You got berries and stuff like that. What else is next? Like, when we start running out of meat and like animals being able to hunt and stuff, like what do we start to do? I guess what I'm asking is, would you ever consider eating another human being? Would you get to the point of like, fuck, we're on day 14 with no food and I am starving and this dude is about to die anyways,
Okay.
so I might as well clonk him over the head and throw his ass into the fire and fucking survive?
Probably. I'd probably do it if I absolutely had to. I would hope that, like you said, the dude was gonna be close to death already and feel a lot less bad about it. But
not even close to death. You're close to death, and you're like, bro, I'm gonna die if I don't eat someone. If I don't eat something.
I don't know, man. That's tough.
What about water? Like, that's so we've covered food and stuff. You need water way more than you need food. Your body, you can go like, I think it's like 17 days or something. You can go a long period of time without actual food sustenance, but water, you can go like 2-3 days. What is it?
Really? That's
it. It's not a long period of time.
Yeah, you need water, and you need to make sure it was safe to drink. Like, that would be a challenge in its own.
Yeah, that would be probably one of the hardest things. I think like the general rule of thumb with looking for clean water and stuff is like to the eye. If it doesn't look clean to you, it's probably not clean. But even still, like, we run out of tap water. We run out of like a public water system. Drinking out of the river that we have down the road, that's still not. That's full of mercury. It's not safe. Yeah.
Don't look clean.
So like, how do you clean water up? Do you like there's water filters and stuff that you could buy and all that stuff, but I'm sure there's like a natural.
You boil it.
You boil it. Oh, also how like mountains and stuff. They filter it through rocks and stuff. So I bet if you had that's why it's cleaner at the end of the mountain spring, because it goes through all the fucking
the filters.
Yeah.
I think boiling it would still be the best way. It's just like a tried and true method. Boiling your water kills all the bacteria.
Kills all the bacteria.
Pretty sure. I mean, you can boil salt water to get the fucking salt out.
Really? Yeah. Okay, that's fair. So
But
we got a bunch of water. We don't have a lighter.
Yeah, I was about to say fire is a
fire is a huge one. Like, as far as like an end of world scenario, fire comes into big play for not only for cooking stuff, for your water sources, but also like fucking warmth and shit. Like, once winter rolls around, once fall rolls around, you need fire. You need some sort of heat source.
And it's protection too, I think, from like creatures and shit, like bears and
I guess that's fair.
That's very important. That would be a challenge. Hopefully you have some way to make a spark. That would be your best bet, I think, because then you could use like...
You could do the Boy Scout way with the fucking...
Yeah.
I'd find wood and just... It's
Could you do that right now if you needed to?
Yeah, it's friction. I could definitely do that right now. It's just friction and time. You're literally rubbing like a stick into like a V shape. You take a piece of wood, cut a little notch into it, and then take another stick. Mm-hmm. That way, when you're when you're twirling it between your hands and creating the friction, it's not going all over the place.
Got you. There's a really cool way I've seen it done on TV. I think it's like a bow almost with a string between the piece of stick, and you can.
Yeah, and you use it like a violin, and it goes faster than rubbing your hands together.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a smart idea.
If the world ended tomorrow, I would definitely start thinking about all the TV I've seen, like snippets of like
all the things to survive.
Like, oh, fuck, what was he doing again? Fuck it up big time, but.
So like, the Boy Scout way to start a fire. You create that friction. Even if you create that friction, you still need like a source for that spark to catch on to. You still need like what's it called? Kindling. Yeah, you still need some sort of thin, dry source that is like that can catch on fire easily. Rope, cloth, anything. Like at that point, like fucking, I'd start ripping parts of my clothes off.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, hopefully you find some dry leaves or something to catch quickly. Once you get something going, pretty much add whatever to it. But
do you remember that time I almost caught the entire Harry's Hill on fire?
Never forget it. That was fucking hilarious.
Bro, I had tried. He said dry leaves. I had we had a little fire pit, and I took that fire pit and I filled it with all the dry leaves and kindling and branches and shit within the area, and I dumped all of our lighter fluid on it. And I was like, yeah, it was getting dark and getting cold. I was like, yeah, let's fucking start a fire. Brandon, let me get your lighter, bro. And he looked at me and he was like, for that? No, what are you, fucking stupid?
Dude, that would have been so bad.
It was a real reality check, because if I had a lighter, I wouldn't even ask Brandon, and I would have burnt that motherfucker down.
He says he filled the fire pit with this stuff. It looked like you just took it and like dropped it around the whole area. Like you didn't clear out anything around the fire pit.
Not to mention, I built it underneath, like, you know, when you're...
Oh, yeah.
Like, all the trees were hanging over. They were, like,
right
just...
over trees.
I didn't think about it at all. Luckily, Brandon was there, and luckily I didn't fucking actually do that, because if that... We were there for a festival. We were there a day early. If we would have done that, the festival would not have happened.
No. It would have pissed off a lot of people. And that would have been the end of everything right there. But you learn.
So, I mean, fire... You get a fire started. You figure out how to keep a constant fire source of some sort. It's a windy day. How do you fucking like, or it's a rainy day. Like on a windy day, you can build a fire pit into the ground with a tunnel that isn't directly, so that the fire isn't directly getting blown by the wind, but the air goes into the tunnel and it keeps the fire lit, because you need fucking oxygen into it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's a way to maintain fire on like a windy day, to at least cook and keep somewhat warmth. But on a rainy day?
Yeah, I mean, I would want to make a shelter of some sorts that lets you have a fire inside. I think that'd be the best.
Like something with a chimney.
Yeah, like even a teepee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something with just a hole on the top.
That'd be a hell of a way to die. It's like it's freezing cold, and then you fucking finally create a fire inside, and then you realize that there's like... There's no exhaust, and you just die from carbon monoxide. You just... At least you died warm, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would do on on a wet day. I guess we would just chalk it up to like, yo, we're not eating today, bro. Like
I bet you'd still be out there. Fucking...
It's berries. It's berries and beef jerky day. Oh man, I didn't think about that. Frogs and like insects and reptiles. Yeah, worms and stuff. That's a good one. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I'd eat the fuck out of worms, to be honest with you.
The hardest part of survival for me if I had to eat insects. I fucking hate bugs to begin with. If I had to eat them.
I mean, like you're starving and you're about to die, bro.
I promise you, I'd still fucking be extremely grossed out by it. There's no
really?
Way. Dude, I fucking hate bugs.
Crickets. We stumbled upon a just like an old Petco where they had where they were breeding crickets to feed to the reptiles, and everything has died except for the crickets. The crickets have overtaken this place. We walk in and it is just cricket city. We're like, yeah, food. You're gonna be like, gross.
I'd cook them or something. Like
cook them. Ew. Could you imagine what a cooked cricket smells like?
It'd probably be like easy to eat though, nice and crispy.
Yeah, you know they make cricket powder. Actually, so I've tried to make cookies out of cricket powder before. I have made cookies out of cricket powder. It tastes like bugs. It's fucking disgusting. Don't let anybody tell you that fucking bug powder does not taste like bugs, because it does. Bug powder supposedly, well, not supposedly, there's facts behind it, has a higher protein content, has a higher like overall versus flour. So you're replacing flour with bug powder.
Get the fuck out of here.
Or you could do like a 1-to-1 mixture. Okay, not bugs, but it tastes like spicy dirt. like there's like a twang to it, but it's definitely, you're like, that's not what this is supposed to taste like. But it's cool because it bakes like I made a beautiful peanut butter cookie with it.
No
It looked
shit.
awesome, but you bit into it and you're like, what the fuck? You're like, oh yeah, by the way, that's 50% cricket powder. It's healthier for you though. You're getting all your proteins in one bite, and they're like, no, tastes like booty. So you wouldn't eat crickets. Crickets would probably be gross. Worms would probably be gross because they would be moving and shit like as you're
Dude,
swallowing.
I'd be cooking all the bugs. I would not be eating them alive if I could help it. Like, oh god, that's so gross. Ugh.
Like, what other bugs are readily available? Even crickets wouldn't be readily available, but like worms would be somewhat readily available.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not. I can't. I don't really.
Especially where we live, we kind of live in like the it's like winter most of the time, so bugs aren't
Yeah, it's not like down south where you get like June bugs,
centipedes and shit.
worm things, and fucking
Grubs. Oh my god, could you imagine eating a grub? That would be. Remember? Oh.
big maggot. It's so gross.
Oh man, so here's the scenario: you kill that deer, and then that deer is covered in maggots, and you're like, "Fuck, I'm hungry."
Oh hell no! Hell no! Nope. Something else can eat that. It ain't gonna be me. Fuck out of here.
That's funny. All right, so like, we've covered the food, water. You said the third one would be shelter. Like, as far as shelter, what do you think? Like shelter, like. How long do you think shelter really lasts? We shelter as in like housing, like a roof over your head.
Like today's housing?
Yeah, like how long do you think in a end of world scenario does this infrastructures that we have around us like?
I mean, without maintenance, probably not that long. To be honest with you, I mean,
Plants would take it over beforehand. Like how we have all these, so like the skyscrapers and buildings and all that stuff, the city stuff. That shit's meant to last for a while.
oh, got you.
But like the houses, the residential neighborhoods and shit like that. A couple decades, probably not that long, but like even before they would start to fall apart and like I mean, think about like all these rundown neighborhoods in like Detroit and stuff. Those houses were built in the 50s, and it's just people who didn't take care of them for a couple decades.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, constant maintenance, I think, is the key to expanding that life.
I think before the dilapidation of like the buildings themselves, plants and like just nature would overtake everything. Like not even necessarily like trees growing through the stuff or like grass growing, but like mold and like green mold and moss and that bacteria that would overtake a place. Like if we didn't.
Totally. I'm just thinking about like walking down like our brick sidewalks in our town, and you can start to see stuff going through all the time, but there's someone to cut that shit down.
Right.
It probably wouldn't take that long for it to overtake buildings and sidewalks and streets and shit.
Facts. How long do you think it would take beforehand?
Before the vegetation took over?
Yeah, just before like houses no longer looked like houses. You've been on the road for 10 years now. Society's collapsed for 10 years. Do you think that we still have buildings, or are you building fucking teepees at this point?
There's probably still buildings, but it's not gonna look good. I give it like a year.
A year, yeah.
Yeah, and people are gonna go fucking crazy. They're gonna smash shit and fucking.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's
Burn
true.
shit down, fucking destroy everything. Like, especially in places like Dallas and like big ass towns like that. It's gonna be a fucking zoo. Like,
in most places, not even like specifically Dallas. Like you can use like any city as a scenario where there's a concentration of people where people live on top of people.
yeah,
That's just
yeah. It's not. It's not gonna
we're
be good.
fucking animals at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So
Um,
I would. I think this is a good guide because I think the best thing you could do in that situation is go fucking somewhere where no one's gonna find you. So
what
somewhere
would
out
your
in the woods.
choice of weapon be? You have your hunting tool, your crossbow. We determined the crossbow would probably be best. A gun would be best, but you know, bullets and all that other stuff. But
By saying you don't have
even
enough.
still, a crossbow you would need the knowledge. It would be easier to make an arrow than it would be to bullet. So a crossbow would be
For sure. Yeah.
the chosen projectile hunting tool. What about weapon? Like a weapon as far as not necessarily just defending yourself from other people, but animals or like yeah, I guess animals. There's no other real danger.
I'd say like you can't have a gun. You said. Like,
Well, ruling out the luxury of a gun. Obviously, if you have a gun, you're king shit.
Yeah.
Like that's just.
So you run out
I
of
got
ammo.
gun and I got 3 extra bullets, and no one is arguing.
Yeah.
Especially like if you have a gun in a scenario apocalyptic world where you have the luxury of firing bullets off into the air, everyone would be like, "Oh my god,
Yeah. Right.
what?"
At least gonna stay away from that guy.
Right. So like, okay, rule out the gun scenario where that's obviously number one.
I would want probably like a sword or like a machete.
Like
or
a
something.
big ass sword,
No, just like something sharp that I can.
one that you would pull from the back or the front.
It's like the belt loop. So I want to be able to use it really quick and like
I
hack something.
in all reality, like I hear what you're saying, like a machete,
Yeah, exactly,
like you said, a small, not necessarily a sword, but not necessarily a knife.
Yeah, not like a fucking Excalibur, fucking king sword like you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd want like a.
Just something I can hack away with, you know.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like or like a Sith, like one of those ones that have like the curve onto it. That would be good for like, just fucking.
Yeah.
Keeping things away.
I honestly thought the machete too you could also use for like chopping wood if it was good enough.
Yeah, that's
using
true.
It for other things too.
That's another good point. How do you have the common knowledge of how to sharpen your metal, sharpen your tools?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just need a.
Rub it on a rock.
Yeah, you could do it on a rock eventually. You'd have to wear the rock down first and get it, the right.
That would be a good like. So okay, so we've talked through all that. Like what? Been on the road for X amount of years. You're figuring things out. Communities are starting to come back, but they're not just letting anybody into the communities. Like, what skill set? I'm at the door. I'm like, sup, bro? You look rough. What's up? What's up? Like, you want to come in here where we got like lights and music?
Oh man, how nice would that be?
What do you bring to the table? What do you think like you could bring to the table, like, or what do you think would be the best thing to bring to the table? Not necessarily what do you bring to the table, but like what do you think one of the best learned skill sets, undeniably, to like a scientist doesn't really matter much. Yo, if you're fucking, you can tell me about space and NASA and shit. I don't really give a fuck. I'm still eating.
I see what you're saying.
I'm eating squirrels, bro.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about rockets right now. Elon Musk, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking, let me see how far you could throw that rock. The dude next to you can throw the rock further. I'm taking him in.
Oh shit! Yeah, I know what you mean. That's a tough one. I think I'd like to think I could help be hunting and gathering and like help in that perspective, but I don't like if we're all out there fucking eating squirrels and shit. Like what skills are useful at that point?
Well, like you said, you would.
I would just be like, yo, I'll help you hunt and fucking cook and whatever. Just let me come in there. It sucks out here.
Yeah, that's fair. One of the top. Let's think of the top 3 most useful skills in this scenario. I know how to I know how to forage. That's a good one. We talked about that earlier. I know which mushrooms to eat and which mushrooms not to eat.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's knowledgeable. People will fucking you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. A whole nother food source.
I mean, I just we live in Maine, like I know where to shoot an animal to kill it, like a deer.
I know, yeah, like hunting, like as far as like
I mean, by no way in any means like a hunter, but I at least know like where the fucking heart is on a deer and like where to shoot animals.
I feel like that would be like common knowledge though at this point in this type of scenario.
Fuck you! Why are you going so hard on me with my skill?
No, I'm just saying. So like, what else? Even like beyond foraging, I guess. Like, I know how to make liquor.
That would be awesome.
People would be like, "Oh, okay, what's up?" Or I got a pocket full of weed seeds. Be like, "What's up? Come on in." Yep. Or
oh, those are good ones. Yeah.
I know how to preserve meat. Like that's a good one. Like I know how I.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. That would be fucking.
I know where salt is.
I got all the salt.
All right.
I mean, well, you could do fire, but I would hope they didn't have a fire.
Yeah, I feel like fire would be figured out, like creating bullets, creating some sort of what's it called, combustion. I know how to create combustion. If you know how to create like, small controlled combustions, that's you know how to create bullets. You know how to create like a lot of things.
Man, that'd be so crazy. You just got me thinking like. All that shit would just basically be relearned all over again, and it would, you know.
Yeah, it's like what is important, and then what becomes luxury, and then like what's slowly.
That's really interesting to think about that. Like, how long would it take before we started fucking progressing again?
About hundreds of thousands of years.
Damn. Expectations are low for that one. I guess I would have to agree though. It's gonna be a while. A long fucking time.
Yeah, or like you know, like I know I know how to farm. I know how to farm. Like I have knowledge of like regenerative farming. I know how to like revive the land. That's knowledgeable. People would fucking dig that. Or I know how to build. I was a carpenter, bro.
Oh sure, yeah.
Like
build, small structures at least and shit like that.
Right. I know how to build. Being a teacher, that would be a luxury. Like that would come like later on. Like great, you know how to fucking educate people, bro. Mm-hmm. We're still. I ate Jimmy last week.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I don't know. Do you think personally you'd rather band up with people like that, or would you just want to?
It's harder to do anything alone. I definitely think there would be a point where, like, you need community to survive. You definitely need people, at least another person. You need some sort of contact with others to be able to survive. Yeah,
for sure. And I'm just thinking there's situations too where like maybe you just need to get a boost up to that ledge to get that fucking
right. Something silly like that. Yeah, I like in a scenario where the world would like end and like things would be like that. Like I think it would change the comfort level of a lot of things. I think there would be less conversation. Like you know how like conversation is a luxury. Like as people just like, hey, how are you today and shit. Like that would all be out the window. Ain't nobody waking up and being like, hey man, why aren't you fucking pretending to be happy? It's like, cause I just shit in the woods and I'm fucking gotta skin this squirrel to.
I'm about to cook this pan of crickets, bro. Fuck, I gotta be happy about.
All right. I mean, like even like think about third world countries and stuff. Like they basically live in they live in an apocalyptic style scenario, kind of what we just described. Like there's parts of like Africa and like parts of like China and other deep parts of Asia and shit all over the world that like it's just rogue, do what you want. There is no law. It is like if you live in the right community, you don't get raped every fucking weekend. That's just what it is. It's
God.
The world is crazy. And I think that we're like super blessed being in a comfortability zone where we could even just like talk and like kind of like how we're doing right now is like fantasize about a scenario like that, because we're in reality the way we're having this conversation is like a fantasy. But it could happen. All of this shit could literally happen tomorrow. And then we're like, oh
fucked up.
yeah, how ironic is it that we were just talking about this? So we're on the road with a stick and bindle, and I come up and I just boop you over the head. I'm like, bro, I'm sorry, I got 4 mouths to feed. I'm cutting your goddamn leg off. You can survive, or I'm gonna kill you the rest of the way. And
That's so fucked up, man. If this happens, it's nice
I'm
to
telling
know
you,
bro.
I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna eat that leg.
Stay the fuck away from me.
That would be my move if I was like the leader and I had people that were depending on me. The way that I would like have people join the group is we would knock them out, we would capture them somehow, and we would take a limb from them. Wake them up and be like, hey man, like, you can either choose to work with us and like just be armless or legless or whatever, handless, and feed us in the small time and eat in the long term, or we're just gonna eat you completely and like you can kick and scream and do whatever you want. So it would just be me, fully limbed, in charge of like 30 half able-bodied.
That is so fucked
So
up.
I always got the upper hand,
Damn.
ironically, and it would just,
I think we get there.
it would just, I like.
Why does it have to be like the Saw movies with you?
It doesn't have to be the Saw movies, but I'd have to get like I'd have to get like a doctor involved and figure out how to cauterize people and stuff like that. But that's like, you got to think about how, like, the scenario of how to get people under control. I guess that's the best way of saying it. It's like, you don't want people to like everyone thinks they're top dog, and it's like, when you're in a dog eat dog world, it's like, yo, I'm hungrier than you, I'm gonna eat this whole squirrel, but it's like there's 6 of us.
Yeah.
Nah, bro, I'm gonna cut the rest of your arm off and like
Yeah.
fall in line. It probably wouldn't last very long.
I don't think that mentality would take people very far unless you'd have to have some. I think you're right. You'd have to have like groups of people are way more, because one dude just walking around saying that wouldn't make it that far. But if you got a bunch of people to back you up and have a small group of people.
Yeah, it's like, even beyond that, it's like, okay, so you're walking around, you got all these groups of people, you run into another group, it's like, what do? You're like, do you try, is it human nature to try to take their resources to feed your own, or is it to try to combine resources? I'm leaning towards human nature is to, yo, fuck you, it's mine, I'm killing you and I'm taking it. That hangry mentality, especially if you're like near desperation. We live in a level of comfort where we can eat, don't have to worry about food, don't have to worry about drink at all. That's not a real worry. Like, at the end of the day, if I really needed to, I'd run to McDonald's, spend $10, and I could fill my belly up. It's not with the best shit, but I could fill my belly up.
I got you.
It's a mental level of comfortability. That's all gone out the window. You take any opportunity you can to fucking... You see a bunch of dudes walking around with fucking...
It's sad but true, man. I think you're right. Like, at the end of the day, if you need it, you're going to get it one way or another.
What do you think the most delicious part of the human body is? Probably the ass.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The ass, or like the lower back.
The love handles.
The love handles, wherever the most fat is.
Yeah.
Or like the thighs. That'd be a good one.
Thigh meat's probably not bad.
Yeah. Human probably tastes really gross.
It's probably disgusting.
So it's end of world scenario. We're banded together. We got all these people. Communities are established. How long do you think, like you said, until progression starts? How long do you think until we're able to send an email? Is that even a prayer? Like, what is the form of communication? Like, smoke signals is that's real communication.
That's one of them.
But how do you send someone to? How are you going to send a message to someone 2 miles away, or you're out hunting and you want to communicate back to your tribe? What do you like? What?
I guess you got a tribe, just get someone else to take it for you. Be like, I'll give you this fucking steak if you take this letter to this guy. You know what I mean? Someone's got to bring it.
So it's literally just a physical bringing it.
Carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
Use one of those if you can get your hands on one, but yeah, someone's got to take it.
How do you train pigeons?
I don't know. That's something we could look into.
Yeah, that would be fucking... Mike Tyson would survive like a motherfucker in an apocalyptic style world. He would... No one would question him. Not a single person would question him. He's owned tigers before, and yo, like, oh my god, yeah, that's perfect. That's it. Fucking.
Mike Tyson.
And he knows how to fly pigeons. That was my whole point of that. I got
Oh,
a
he
little,
does?
I got a little sidetracked.
Oh,
That's
I
like his
didn't-
whole side hustle.
Never heard that.
Not side hustle. That's something that Mike Tyson grew up doing as a child, living in New York on the roofs of New York. It's a hobby that he even does down to this day, where it's like a New York hood kid. I don't want to say a hobby, but it's like a pastime. It's like something that like people do in New York. They literally have pigeons on top of the roofs, and they just like train them to fly. And it's like a flex that I got 40 more pigeons than you that I can command. And
That's funny.
it was like an early 80s and 90s thing.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know if it's necessarily a thing now. I'm sure it probably still is. Pigeons haven't gone away, and people living in New York haven't gone away. So
It is interesting how you can actually train something.
I'm gonna start controlling crows. So wherever I go, I just got a flock. I got a murder of crows coming with me. Did you know that a group of crows is called a murder?
No, that's funny. That's cool.
It's weird.
That's actually kind of creepy because
Crows are smart as fuck.
Yeah,
Crows are kind of scary smart.
I've heard they remember like who you are and shit.
And they can tell other crows. Like if you ever like fuck with a crow somehow, they can literally communicate to another crow to like, yo, stop messing with that person, or that person's bad.
Oh shit. Ugh, that's
Like,
weird. I don't know why.
But they're also smart. Like they can, like you can see it when they communicate to their homies and shit. And they're like, hey yo, there's like food over here. What's up? Come circle in. You can see them communicate when they're all eating the food and stuff. Like one's always on the lookout. I got a couple crows that come into my yard, so I watch them all the time. And like one will sit looking out, a couple will sit in the trees and like fly around while like 2 or 3 eat, and then they'll switch.
That's fucking cool. They're working together.
They work and they talk, and it's like, I used to have a crow that would bring, it happened like twice. I used to throw like cookies and shit out on my roof. Just, yeah, and crows would come and they'd fucking like eat and shit. And one time a crow brought like it was like a shiny piece of like little, it looked like a rub down coin, but it wasn't a rub down coin. It was like a cylinder, a cylindrical metal, basically. Brought it and it left it there. It like dropped it with its foot and it ate. And then I was like, oh, like maybe it's like rewarding, you know what I mean? It's like saying thank you.
Oh, like it left that there for you? Okay.
Right, so I left more shit out, and it did it again with another thing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
And
fucking cool.
so I looked it up after that, and crows do shit like that.
They leave you gifts and
they
shit?
leave you gifts if they think that they give you stuff. So that's why I put out the second thing, and then he never really came back after that.
Dude, that's cool. Now I want to try to make a crow homie. Start giving him
A
shit.
crow homie, yeah, that's a good idea. It was never anything really cool. It was basically just like a little trash
Whatever.
and trinket.
It's just
But
cool
yeah,
it does that.
it was metal twice though. That's what it was. It was like, that's why I was like, I know that he's like just, there wasn't metal on my roof beforehand,
Right.
and it had to drop out with his fucking foot. I guess I didn't technically see it. Looking back in hindsight, I'm imagining that I saw it, but I definitely didn't see it. But crows would come where they would come and land. There was a metal piece left, not once but twice. So I was like,
Probably leaving it.
deduction of information
Yeah.
coming from a fucking crow,
I'm gonna make a crow homie.
Crow
Somebody
homie.
leaves me.
or a pigeon homie, or a what do you think, a seagull homie? I'd fuck with a seagull. Seagulls are probably
cool.
smart. I don't know. I feel like we had a fairly good conversation about how to apocalypse.
Yeah, got my brain working on a lot of like what ifs.
Yeah, we touched on a good amount of topics. We talked about the essentials: food, water, shelter. We talked about weapons. We talked about community. We talked about just like society in general collapsing and like how long it would take. We had a couple good facts. We had a couple good
Facts.
like how tos and good smart things like.
Yeah, I think some of our advice will keep you alive.
Yeah. It's science boy knowledge. But you know, as far as like how to apocalypse, like we said, we talk about it in a fantasy way, but I really don't think it's the I don't think it's a fantasy. I think that these are becoming survival tips. Like at the back of our head, we should have a go bag filled with
absolutely
all this other stuff. And
this whole conversation made me realize, like, fuck, I need to get better at a couple things. Probably.
Right,
At least get more familiar.
I'm gonna learn how to clean a squirrel tonight. I'm gonna learn how to skin a squirrel, and I hope you guys will learn how to skin a squirrel. I know Brandon said he already knows how because he's had this whole.
Fuck off.
Don't fuck off. Listen, they say when you're a child, when you start killing little things
fuck
and
off.
doing
fuck
all these
off.
weird things with little animals, they start. We appreciate you guys. Brandon chugged his beer. I was gonna say let's chug these beers and finish them off.
Yeah, okay. But
instead, I wanted to tell the world about Brandon shoving gerbils. We love you guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Good job.
Y'all gotta sit this through. I got about halfway more. This is whole part of.
Damn, man.
Brandon, tell me your best joke.
You can get the fuck out of my house.
Damn, I got close to it. He's got the gerbils up his butt.